Hey guys, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm showing you one of the weirdest locations I have ever found. It contains just one NPC, and this NPC has something very special to say. That's because what they say actually relates to your playthrough of the game, your individual playthrough. So depending on where you are in the story, they'll comment on your progress. It is a really nice detail, and I love finding new stuff in this game, so let's take a look. To find this mysterious NPC, you'll want to head here. In Dum 1 in the Indum system. The location she's at is a point of interest called the Industrial Rig. Now, I'm not sure if this is someone you can encounter in other places or if this NPC is a unique individual who only appears here, but for me personally, I've only seen her once, and that is here, which makes her incredibly rare in Starfield. Now, let's go over and see what this NPC says. To give you some context, in this playthrough, I've just completed the mission in which you have to defend New Atlantis from an onslaught of terramorphs. This is part of the UC Vanguard questline. Did I say Vanguard? I meant Vanguard. It's called Eyewitness, and it tasks you with defeating 3 terramorphs at the New Atlantis spaceport. So here's what she says after finishing the Eyewitness mission.
About 3.5 months, give or take. Had a partner for a while, but she got homesick, and I'm the one who pretty much single-handedly eradicated the terramorphs that attacked New Atlantis. You don't want to mess with me. You'll end up a sticky pile of guts, just like those alien scum.
So there you go, she tries to take credit for my heroics on New Atlantis. And I can't let her get away with that, obviously. And in response, we have a few dialogue options. We can say, nice story, I should know because I'm the one who did it. Or we can say, I was the one who killed the terramorphs, don't go around taking credit for something I did. Which is pretty much the same, but it sounds more like you're going to cry. And the third option is, trouble is, I know you're lying because it was actually me who killed the terramorphs. And before I click on an option, I just want to flag up one of my problems with the writing in this game. All 3 of the dialogue options you've just heard are basically the same. Not only is the messaging the same, which boils down to don't take credit for my work, but it's delivered in more or less the same way too. Like, there's no sarcastic option, no angry option, no funny option. It's all pretty much straightforward. And in my opinion, if there are multiple dialogue options saying the same thing, they're not really options, they're just redundant ultimately. So that is disappointing, but let's pick one and see what our colonist says.
Oh boy. Well, this is awkward. Here, take these as an apology.
Well, that is a nice outcome. I'll take that. 318 credits plus some medication as an apology. That's what we get for her apocryphal tales. And that seems to be the end of the encounter. She does not say anything else. But this got me thinking, what else does she comment on? For instance, if I visit her before I do the terramorph mission, what would she say? It can't be the same unless she can see into the future. So I made a new save and went back to the planet to find out. There was one problem, however. The location completely disappeared. Since it's random, when I changed my save, it ceased to exist. The planet it was on randomized itself, so I could not find the Industrial Rig location. But that's okay, there is a second option, and that is this. We can stick to the same save we originally found the Industrial Rig on, then go through the Unity and see what she says to that. What does she say when you go on New Game Plus? She must have a comment on my brand new Starborn spacesuit at least, because it is very shiny. So I go through the Unity and watch all of the cutscenes and head into New Game Plus. Then I head back to the location, and here's where I remember going through the Unity actually resets the universe. So the location is, once again, nowhere to be found. Most of the random locations you discover in the game reset upon entering the Unity, so only the persistent locations like cities and major outposts remain. campaign. That means once again we cannot find our NPC and we cannot hear what she says about our progress. The next step was talking to her at a point in the game after I've completed the Terramorph attack mission on New Atlantis, but before I fully completed the game and caused her location to disappear. So after doing a few more campaign quests, I head back to her for a chat. Unfortunately, she doesn't say much. It appears that once you've talked to the colonist once, she doesn't want to talk again. So here's what she says. That means we have to be playing on a save file where I've found the industrial rig, so that location is locked in. But I haven't yet talked to the colonist. Using this method, hopefully she'll say something new depending on where we are in the game. And here's where we run into a second problem. Every time I go back to the industrial rig, all of its NPCs are completely different. For example, the first time I head there, it's a team working for a company called Arcmite. There is no colonist, just these company workers. The next time I go there, there's a bounty hunter who shoots me on sight. That is not a very nice welcome. And then I go there another time and there's a UC Vanguard member who has a nice conversation with me, but it's not contextual. And one time I go there and there was a colonist, but they were just lying on the floor, not moving. So the NPCs at this location are seemingly all randomized, and it's going to be pretty difficult to find this exact colonist and see if she's got any more unique voice lines for me. But I do have one final trick to try, and that is a very sneaky method. It's by using the console. There is a chance I'll be able to spawn her character, and if so, I can spawn her wherever I like. That means I won't have to find the industrial rig, and I can just talk to her in any location I choose. Opening the console and clicking on the colonist displays her ID. All it takes now is to type in player.placeAtMe, followed by her ID to spawn her. But for some reason, this doesn't work. This is what comes up, a little error message preventing me from spawning this NPC. And to be honest, right now, I'm getting pretty used to failure. A final desperate option I can try is typing help colonist in the command box. This displays the ID of every colonist in the game, which as you can see, is quite a lot. Now here's where I do have a bit of luck, because trying to spawn one of these colonists actually works. Yes, it's amazing. We have a tiny bit of success. We can spawn these colonists using the console. However, talking to them reveals nothing.
I wonder what else is out there.
They are just generic NPCs who don't have contextual comments on your progress. It seems like the one colonist who does have contextual comments on your progress cannot be spawned. So you know what, I'm going to throw it over to you guys. Have you ever encountered this colonist before? And if so, what did she say? Did her comments differ to mine, where she took total credit for that Terramorph attack, or did she say something completely different? Let me know if you found her and what she said down in the comments. But to be honest, I really do wonder just how many different lines of dialogue she has. So we're going to keep trying. She must have some more contextual comments in there. The devs clearly programmed her to react to your progress in the campaign, and why would they do that for just one mission? It sounds very specific. She's got some hidden extra dialogue, I know it, so let's give it another go. And I know that Bethesda have always had characters that comment on where you are in the story, but I haven't actually encountered all that many in Starfield, which makes this one a rarity. It makes me really wonder just how many different lines of dialogue she does have. She's clearly got more than one, unlike most NPCs in this game, but how do you get to hear them? The only way you're going to know is by repeatedly going back to her after every mission and seeing what she says. Maybe it's after a handful of campaign missions, which wouldn't make her voice lines that extensive, but if she also comments on your progress during faction quests, that could possibly make her bank of voice lines absolutely huge. Todd Howard did say on multiple occasions that Starfield has the most lines of dialogue from any Bethesda game in history, and with secret NPCs hiding like this out in the world with hundreds of possible lines of dialogue, you can definitely start to see why. And as I say, I know Bethesda have done contextual NPC barks before. For example, in Oblivion, if you've completed the Gladiator tournament, people will greet you as the Grand Champion. Or if you've done the Thieves Guild faction quest and become the Grey Fox, guards might comment on their suspicions of you as the Grey Fox. Even just like little things like investing your skill points in healing and restoration. I had a citizen tell me once, quote, "I had the hands of a healer," which is a bit creepy. but it's a nice detail anyway. So yeah, Bethesda has done contextual dialogue before, but that doesn't take away from this one Starfield NPC who seems to change their dialogue depending on where you are in the game. And added to that, she's in such a remote part of the map you'll almost certainly never bump into her. The guards in Oblivion by comparison are everywhere, so you're bound to hear their reactive dialogue. This NPC though, not so much. Imagine the amount of work put into writing all of those lines, programming them to trigger at certain intervals, getting the voice actor to record them, only for there to be a minuscule chance of actually getting the player to hear any of it. I wouldn't want to be a Bethesda developer. A really great touch in a massive game, and one I frankly cannot get enough of. I love finding stuff like this in Starfield, but what about you? What details have you found in this game you've not encountered before? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching once again. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying it, and if you feel like it, sponsor this channel over at patreon.com/gaming with Griffin. That would be very much appreciated, but until then I will see you in the next video.